saw Les Miserables.
Okay.
The big new musical film with Russell Crowe and
Never
Hugh
heard of
Jackman.
it.
It's pretty obscure.
Is it? Okay.
It is based on some old book. I think there was another stage play done, a very minor thing.
Okay.
I loved this film. I really, really loved it. And I've never seen the stage play. I was familiar with the songs from the musical just because they're legion. You can't get away from them, even if I hadn't been aware they were from that particular musical. But just the story in this film is exceptional. And I've heard a lot of people who loved it, and I heard a lot of people who hated it.
Yeah.
The people who hate it, in my experience, have generally been people who are really into theater.
Sure. Yeah.
They've seen the stage version, they love the stage version. They see the film version, they hate it.
Yeah.
I get that. I understand that because stage and theater are very different experiences. You're having a very different experience. The main complaint I have heard from people is that Russell Crowe is miscast.
Sure.
That he can't sing very well.
He can't sing very well. I don't think his voice is that bad. But when you're in a film with Hugh Jackman and Anne Hathaway, who can really sing, you're going to have a problem. But here's why I don't care about that. I don't care at all that he's not a great singer. And the reason is, in a stage version, you definitely need someone, and what I've heard is that his voice doesn't have enough power. You know, that Javert or Valger, Javert, just is supposed to be have this powerful voice. And that's very important on stage when you don't, you know, maybe you're far away from the stage, you can't really eyeball which character is which. But I think cinematically, you need a character, you need an actor that can literally intimidate Hugh Jackman. Okay, you need a character that is going to be able to convince you that Hugh Jackman's character, Jean Valjean, will literally run his whole life from this person. And I think Russell Crowe accomplishes that cinematically. Could they have found a better singer who accomplished the same thing? I don't really know. But I think it works cinematically. I love the story. I love the acting. I love the singing. I heard a lot of complaints about there being too many close-ups in the film.
People were annoyed by it seemed like it was all shot almost by Steadicam. It was, which I thought they were trying to give the effect, or an effect that you can't get on stage of getting close.
Exactly. And I mean, you've got to, if you just put the camera on sticks and then just let the characters walk in front of it, then that's a whole other problem. So I liked what they did with it, and I really think that was the goal. It's like, this is different from the stage version. We're doing something different. All I know is it's very rare that I am more enthralled by a film than I was by this one. I was glued to the screen for the entire 2.5-hour running time. I could not take my eyes off the screen. I thought it was amazing. Just the story, the acting, everything about it. Now, what I don't know, you know, this is sort of like an all-time musical. You know, this is something that people have been talking about for decades and will be for decades more, I expect. So what I don't know, what I'm not smart enough to discern is this source material just so strong that you can't possibly screw it up? Or did they do like a really excellent version of this? And I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was excellent.
Well, it's interesting that you're coming from a perspective from someone that's never seen any of the original material.
Yeah.
So I've seen the stage play twice, I think. So, and I haven't seen the film yet, and I've kind of stayed away from it a little bit because my wife runs in the circles of singers.
Yes.
And they're all just tearing it apart. And it's just like, come on, like, you're obviously a professional. You're obviously going to school for that. I understand that, but at some point, you got to at least attempt to enjoy it and not criticize it. And I understand that it's really hard to do that because, I mean, we watch movies all the time, and it's really hard to sort of not watch a movie with a critical eye. It's kind of a nice thing when something comes around that you can actually check out and not have that feeling. So I'll probably see it at some point, and now that sort of it has, I'm assuming your recommendation based on your review.
Big thumbs up from me.
I'll be interested to see if it holds up compared to the source material.
Yeah. And I mean, I was just blown away. I was just blown away by it. And, and I've tried to see the musical.
Sure.
I've actively looked for a place to see the musical, and I've never really found anywhere to see it. So I will be interested. At some point, I will get to see the musical.
I think it was here at IU. Was it last year or maybe the year before?
Yeah,
it's been since the cinemas opened. I feel like, because I feel like I've seen the banner sort of hanging from the auditorium.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
In the last year and a half or so. So
yeah,
I'm sure it'll come back. It's a pretty roaming production.
Noelle, do you have anything else you want to say about it?
Oh yeah, I thought it was interesting that you were coming to it fresh because I did see it when I was 14 on Broadway, and it is the kind of like from the first moment they start singing, I was in tears, and I had decided I was going to move to New York, and I did. So it was literally life changing, I suppose, in that way, or it felt that way.
Yeah.
And so it is. It's very hard to, because there's like a certain power of the singers, and I am a singer as well, so. So I think I probably had more of that attitude. But I was in the second act, they bring in the big guns, like the younger, like real Broadway stars.
Yeah.
And that's when I was.
Well, and that's sort of an interesting thing because knowing nothing about the story, I didn't know there was sort of this dichotomy between the people in the first act and the people in the second half of the story. And I did wonder that because I didn't recognize any of those people really from other films. So they sort of bring in the big stars to kind of push you through the first part of it just to get people into the theater, I'm guessing. Right. And then they bring in okay, now you're here. Here's we're going to bring in the people who've, been singing these songs their whole lives. Right. So, but yeah. A Place for Film is recorded at WFIU Studios in Bloomington, Indiana.